Welcome back, learners! I am very excited to bring you today's lesson. So, set your mind, ready your heart, and brace yourselves, for we will take a journey to discover the Week 4 of 21st Century Literature from the Philippines and the world. For today's lesson, we will focus on the representative texts and authors from each region, the study and appreciation of a literary text from Mindanao. Most essential learning competency in focus, writing a close analysis and critical interpretation of literary texts and doing an adaptation of these require from the learner the ability to identify 1. Representative text and authors from each region, Mindanao. At the end of this module, you should be able to Number 1. Know and understand the use of motif and theme in poetry. Number 2. Appreciate and understand a literary text from Mindanao using motif and theme.
Motif. It is a central or recurring image or action in a literary work. According to Masterclass, it is a repeated word, phrase, or topic expressed in language. It can be a recurring situation or action. It can also be a sound, smell, a temperature, or a color. Motifs are details whose repetition adds to the work's larger meaning. In their repetition, motifs emphasize what is most important about a story or a poem. Example of motif. A tuxedo. Throughout a poem, a man wears a tuxedo for a variety of occasions. His wedding, his father's funeral, and his own daughter's wedding. The tuxedo becomes a symbol of his changing duties as a husband, son, and father as he ages.
Theme. It is an abstract and universal idea, lesson, or message explored throughout a work of literature. It is what the writer is trying to say about life and human experience in general. In simpler words, it is the underlying message that the writer wants to convey. A theme can be separated into major and minor ideas. Common themes in poetry: good versus evil, love, family, courage and perseverance, coming of age, relationships, life, death. Example of theme. Theme of love. I was a child and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabelle Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted heard me. Annabelle Lee, Edgar Allan Poe.
Motifs can often be mistakenly identified as mere symbols since they are symbolic in nature. The key difference between these two is the element of repetition. As what have been established, a motif is something that reoccurs throughout a text. On the other hand, a symbol may appear only once.
The motif is much more concrete than the abstract theme. It consists of specific images and symbols that the reader can visualize. Motifs also tend to be specific to the work and they appear. Themes, on the other hand, appear many times in different works by different writers from different periods.
To illustrate, there is an abundance of literary works that have the theme of love being contradictory. While we may encounter other poems or books that explore the contradictory nature of love as their theme, it would be unlikely to find multiple works that use the same motifs. Motifs are partners to themes, as repetitive images and symbols emphasize the theme of a literary piece.
Example of motif versus theme. One of the central themes in Romeo and Juliet is that love is a paradox containing many contradictions. To develop this theme, Shakespeare paired contradictory, opposite symbols, such as night and day, moon and sun, crows and swans. These paired symbols fall into a broader pattern of dark versus light. That broader pattern is called a motif. This motif reinforces the theme that love is a paradox. Danny Castillo Salada, a multidisciplinary artist, thinker, and writer from Mindanao. A surrealist painter, sculptor and installation artist, philosopher, bilingual poet, essayist, musician, performance artist, photographer, and an indie filmmaker. A former columnist and art and cultural critic in Manila Bulletin. Obtained the following degrees: A.B. Philosophy and English Literature, Bachelor in Sacred Theology and Pastoral Theology, and Master of Business Administration. He writes in Mandaya, his native language, and English. He also writes in Filipino and Cebuano. Recognized as one of the notable IPs by the National Commission of Indigenous Peoples, NCIP, of Davao Oriental during the capacity building of IPMR on Good Governance in Davao City, sponsored by the Development Academy of the Philippines, Mindanao, Department of the Interior and Local Government, DILG, CIP, and Tinioda Davao University.
Translated as The Door of an Abandoned Old House, a trilingual poem written by Danny Castillo Salada in Mandaya, Cameo, Filipino, and English. The English version published in the Philippine Free Press magazine on March 26, 2011. The English version translated into Italian and German languages by Ivano Raver, Imelda, and Ditla Fleisterer, and Bobby Rockellen respectively, for a short film and international exhibition. Created by the writer into a short film and was chosen as one of the entries to the 6th Zebra Poetry Film Festival in Berlin, Germany. Part of the Ghost People traveling exhibition and performances in Italy and Spain, curated and organized by Marica Fama. Ghost People, an advocacy group composed of international poets, writers, painters, musicians, and performance artists, advocating for the human rights of the political victims of desaparecidos or involuntary disappearances around the world.
Yang Puerta ng Biniyaan na Bay, by Danny Castellones Salada. Unan sayang mga panghitabo, nakanaan ikitan sang pag-abri haw pagsira, pag-abot haw pagpanaw, sang kadum o kaadlaw, sang kalipayon o kamasulubon. Unan sayang hinungdan, humisteryoso na mga rason sang kanaan, makahahadlok na kahungay, yaagnas haw yahugno hinay-hinay, sang mahayab na ag-inusara, pagkamingaway sa tanawon, yang malipayon na puwerta sang awon, doon sarado italikdan intawon, sinumanyang mga gahuya ngan sin-i, yapanaw silan, da gayud ulii.
Post questions. Are there words, images, or ideas that are recurring in the poem? What are they? Number 2. Do these recurring concepts lead to the development of the theme? Number 3. What is the theme or the message of the poem? Number 4. What does the door symbolize?
It is noticeable that the poem has contrasting or opposing words, such as opening, closing, arrival, departure, evening, daytime, joy, sorrow, rational, mysterious. The motif of the poem is contrasts or contradictions with regards to the passing of time. These pairs of words reinforce the idea of the passing of time and of the transitions that happen in a person's life. The passing of time and the transitions in one's life are symbolized by the door. The door becomes a witness of the happenings in one's life. Therefore, the theme or the message of the poem is that time is fleeting, that people arrive and depart, that feelings come and go. The motif of contrasts is successful in developing the theme of the poem.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video lesson. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button for more updates.